Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new supernatural horror film, Good Boy. And this new horror film is directed by Ben Leonberg in his feature film directorial debut. And Good Boy tells the story of a loyal dog who moves to a rural family home with his owner only to discover supernatural forces lurking in the shadows. As dark entities threaten his human companion, the brave pup must fight to protect the one he loves most. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a horror film from the perspective of the dog. And I know that may sound silly and dumb and cheesy, but that caught my interest. I can't speak for nobody else, but that got my wheels turning. I was like, okay, we've never seen a movie like that before. Why is it taking so long for us to get a film from this perspective? Well, number one, this movie took over a year to shoot. It took over 400 days to shoot this film because this film is primarily from the dog's perspective. There's really no human characters in this movie. Yes, the owner, and you see maybe two or three other people, but you don't even see their faces. You know, you hear their voices every now and then, speaking dialogue just to make it a legitimate movie, but it's there are no quote unquote actors in this movie that you can look at and say, "Oh, I know him," but you don't because you don't see their faces at all because this movie is based solely on the dog. And I didn't know all that going in. I knew it was from the perspective of the dog, which was the point, you know, to get me hooked to it, but I didn't think it was really going to commit like it did. And it did. And wouldn't you believe, I enjoyed the mess out of this movie. I love this movie as a dog lover now. And I can say that with pride now because growing up, I wasn't. Number one, I was allergic to dogs and I couldn't be around them. I think I still am though, because my daughter has a dog now, who I consider mine too. But I love that dog, and we've had dogs since my girls were kids, you know, little kids, and I grew to love dogs. I'm a dog person now. You know, something that I never thought I would be in my life, especially as a kid. When I was a little kid, I wanted a dog, but I couldn't have a dog because of my allergies. I couldn't be around them. And now it's such a joy to have old Ronan around. But it's funny because just recently, Ronan has started just barking at stuff, just random stuff. Nothing. I would say random, but it's nothing. Just barking at nothing. He'll be in the hall and just start barking, looking down the hall, and I'm looking, and I'm like, "What are you barking at? What am I supposed to be? what am what am I supposed to be alerted to here?" I'll walk down, search, and the more I search, and he'll kind of like step back, and I'm like, What are you afraid of?" That I'm walking into, you know, and he does this all the time now, and I can't find nothing. I don't know what he's barking at. And so when this movie was not announced, because I've known about it a couple of well, for a few months now, when this came around, I'm like, man, I wonder would this give me a more insight into the mind of a dog, and it does. Um, the star of this film, Indy, and I don't know, man. That is the best acting I've seen all year, and I'm not saying that to be facetious or as a joke or whatever. This dog, number one, a beautiful dog. I mean, beautiful dog, and it really captivated me. I was stuck. I was stuck on this dog and what this dog was going through and feeling empathy and sympathy and dread at some moments throughout this film for this dog, because the dog can't communicate, it can't speak dialogue, it can emote but not like a human being can, you know what I'm saying? So this dog had a heavy task of holding this film together, and he does, man. I mean, what a good dog. No pun intended. They amply titled this film "Good Boy" because he's such a good boy. Along with Indy's performance in this film, uh, another big shout out has to go to the cinematography here. Oh my God, it is beautifully shot by Ben Liam Bird, who also did the cinematography as well, who is also the owner of the dog of Indy. That's his actual dog that he used for this film. Um, this film looks gorgeous. It is such a beautifully made film, and I say film a little loosely. I guess I could go into it now. The one of my knocks about the film is the fact that it's short. This film is like 73 minutes long. I wouldn't even constitute it as a film. It's just over an hour long, and it's the right time. You know, it's not like, oh man, it should have went longer. No, it really shouldn't have. And if you cut it shorter, it wouldn't have been a film. It really would have been like a episode of a TV show. But it's right at the right time because this movie, um, I'm saying it nauseum here, is shot from the perspective of a dog. There's only so much you can do telling a story from a dog's perspective. So 73 minutes were just right, and that's counting credits. So it's not long at all, but it gets to the point. It's well paced, well edited. It is one of those movies that after it went off, I sat there and was like, man, what did I do to get so blessed to watch something like this? Because I didn't expect to have such a good viewing with this movie. I thought it was going to be decent. You know, I didn't think I was going to just think the world of it, but uh, jokes on me. Jokes on me. It really accomplished the goal that it was setting out to do. Tell a singular story and hit all of the notes, and it did. One of the things, especially recently in horror films, the big question, the huge question, is it scary? Well, I wouldn't say it's quote unquote scary, but it does have jump scare moments. It does have scenes in this movie that are tense, that are sweat inducing, nail biting. It is frightening. I wouldn't say scary, but it does have frightening moments in this movie that really does constitute a horror. Probably some of the best jump scares that I've seen this year in a film, and that was kind of a shock. You know, some of these jump scares really got me. I really did jump, and it's hard for me to jump, you know, because I've watched a lot of horror in my life, and I'm desensitized to a lot of things. You know, I can see where the scare is coming. I can see when the boogeyman's jumping from underneath the bed and all this other good stuff. This really caught me off guard a few times in this movie, not just once. It was a few times that I was like, oh, you know. But to swing back on a negative kick, yeah, it was short. You know, I wasn't expecting it to be short, but I understand why it was short. So it's not really a negative. It's more of me just want to be greedy because I was having such a good time with the film. And the fact that we really don't get any human connections. You know, I get that we're getting it from the dog. You know, this is where the story is coming from. But I would have liked to had connected a little more with like his owner. But you know, I'm just nitpicking at this point. It doesn't really take away per se, but it was just something for me. I would have liked to have seen just for the impact reasons, not to get into spoilers of the movie, but impacts of certain plot lines in the movie. Now, uh, the end of this film, I'm gonna tell you what God loves right here, and that is the truth. I was emotional at the end of this movie. The end, not so much because the movie was so impactful. It was the ending. The ending was so crushed. I can't get into it because this is a non-spoiler review, but it is soul crushing to me, and I can't imagine anybody walking away and not feeling a little something from the ending of this film. You don't have a soul if you don't feel that way. I mean, it was soul crush. I really did feel it, but I would have felt it a little more had we got a more flushed out character with the owner. But nonetheless, super enjoyed Good Boy, one of the best horror films of 2025. A shocker. I love watching films that uh, just catches off guard, you know, because we go to movies and I know a lot of people are, you know, crying about originality. We don't get anything new. We don't get anything different. It's uh, just Marvel movies, comic book movies, and so on and so forth. Everything is recycled with remakes and reboots and sequels and all this here. When you get something original like Good Boy, we need to support it. And this is definitely a film I recommend to everyone. Good Boy gets a letter grade of an A minus. Yeah, it is really, really good. And I'm I'm so happy, man. I just got a smile on my face. Even though this is a somber movie in sorts, but it is so good. It is so good, and you could tell that Ben Leon Bird, who directed this film, this was a labor of love for him, and it had to be to shoot this movie for over 400 days. You had to love it. It had to be a level of passion involved in the making of this movie, and you can tell it's on the screen. You see the love that went into this movie, and far be it from me not to show love back. I would like to know, did you check out Good Boy? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Or have you not checked it out yet or haven't even heard of it? I recommend it highly. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Good Boy. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.